will magically change. Now it's an internal crisis. The locker room is fed up. Linemen create clean pockets while Gabriel dumps it short. Receivers win routes downfield and get ignored. And a veteran reportedly asked, why run deep if he won't throw past 15 yards? The defense is furious after watching their work wasted drive after drive. Cleveland's defense played championship-level ball, held Pittsburgh under 20, forced turnovers, and handed the offense short fields, yet Dillon Gabriel squandered every chance. Their game-winning work keeps dying because the offense can't capitalize and patience is gone. Post-game, tension reportedly boiled over. A defensive captain confronted Gabriel, words flew, and teammates jumped in to separate them. Stefanski downplayed it publicly, but insiders say the locker room is at a critical, near-explosive point. The most maddening part, Shedeur Sanders is right there on the sideline, watching the collapse, knowing he can change the tempo, and teammates see it every day in practice. Teammates see the arm, the calm, the leadership, and many believe Shedeur Sanders is the Browns' best, maybe only, path to winning. Yet he stays benched, and no one can explain why. Politics, pride, draft status. Rumors say veterans have privately urged Kevin Stefanski to make the switch. The offensive coordinator reportedly agrees, and position coaches admit Gabriel's limitations are now an obstacle to success. But Stefanski stays firm, backing Gabriel despite mounting evidence. And the real issue is shifting to the coach's credibility, stubbornness, and refusal to use the obvious solution sitting on his own bench. These choices aren't just costing games, they're shredding Kevin Stefanski's reputation across the league, with coaches questioning his judgment and execs wondering if he's lost the room. His post-game moment became a meme when, asked about starting Shedeur Sanders, he said with a straight face, "Dillon gives us the best chance to win." X exploded, and that line turned into the rallying cry for a furious fan base demanding change. Zoom out, and it's even uglier. The Browns have a championship-caliber roster almost everywhere except quarterback. Elite defense, real weapons, solid O-line, steady special teams. Dillon Gabriel's limits are handcuffing the whole operation while the potential solution sits idle on the bench, and rival fans are loving it. Thanks for the easy win, Steelers Nation taunted, begging Cleveland to keep starting Gabriel. This wasn't just another loss. It felt season-defining, the kind that can knock a team out of contention by Thanksgiving. Overnight, the national narrative flipped from dark horse contender to case study in dysfunction, coaching stubbornness, and wasted talent. Another promising year drifting toward the rocks because the one position that matters most is dragging everything down. Here's the hard truth the organization has to face. This is sunk cost football. Cleveland invested draft capital, handed out the starting job, and doubled down in public. And now they're riding the commitment instead of the results, while a better option waits for a real shot. Cleveland's riding a bad investment and won't admit it. They keep throwing good snaps after bad, while a better option sits ready on the sideline. That stubbornness wrecking a winnable season for no good reason. By Monday, X was ruthless. Hashtag start Shedeur and hashtag Gabriel gotta go. Trended as fans dropped mock trades and missing Browns offense posters with Gabriel's face. Creativity was wild, anger was real, and the message was crystal clear. Change the quarterback now. Digital protests erupted. Profiles flipped to Shedeur, mass tweet storms hit team accounts, and podcasts ran emergency episodes demanding his promotion. This isn't a fringe outcry. It's the majority of the fan base united behind one demand: play Shedeur Sanders now. The organization faces a simple fork in the road: keep backing a struggling starter and risk losing the locker room, or admit the mistake and give Shedeur the shot he's earned to rescue a season hanging by a thread. The clock's ticking, rivals are gaining, and the playoff window is closing fast. Call it what it is: coaching malpractice and organizational failure, a total disconnect from reality. The Pittsburgh loss made it obvious. The Browns lack a quarterback who can win big games, the staff won't make the move, and the season is spiraling while the fix sits in plain sight. So how long until Cleveland acknowledges what everyone already sees? This was supposed to be a resurgence. Instead, it's another quarterback disaster and another wasted year unless the one obvious decision finally gets made. Drop your take below, hit like, and subscribe for the unfiltered breakdowns. This saga isn't over.
Think of it is, you got to think about it. We sitting here talking about it, right? He's the backup quarterback. He's sitting there, he's learning, he's doing whatever the case may be. He's sitting there, he ain't saying nothing, he's learning. The narrative that we got to go week by week to say he's either ready or not ready is crazy. It's like, yo, At the end of the day, he's the backup quarterback supporting Dylan Gabriel, learning the game plan, and doing it at a high.
An NFL insider just accused the Cleveland Browns of lying, not to the media, not to the players, but to their own fans. And what makes it worse? The receipts might prove he's right. For months, Cleveland has pushed a polished story about its quarterback room. Dylan Gabriel is the future fit for Kevin Stefanski's system. Shedeur Sanders is learning in the background. But that story is cracking in real time. Behind headlines, leaks, and scripted pressers, a different truth is bleeding through, one that suggests the Browns are intentionally hiding their most talented quarterback to protect the people in charge. And the wildest part, every attempt to bury the story only makes it louder. If you want the no-spin version as this explodes week to week, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next twist.
Increasingly, the narrative is it's starting to get out more that the Browns believe that he is not ready. That is
Joe Flacco said it this week.
Flacco said it. There's other players that have skirted around the issue, and there are I don't want to say leaks, but you hear things from inside teams all the time. And to me, and Jay, correct me if I'm wrong, it increasingly has become the narrative that he is not ready. Am I overstating that?
No, I mean, I've been saying it.
It started small, a tonal shift, a few suspicious headlines, the kind of quiet PR pivot that only happens when a team feels the heat. A week ago, Cleveland was proudly promoting Gabriel as the calm, system-perfect heir. Coaches couldn't stop praising his command, and the press was spoon-fed that he was QB2, but really the future. Then came the games, shaky decisions, stalled drives, visible sideline frustration. Overnight, the silence around Shedeur flipped to calculated name drops. Suddenly, the same voices that dismissed him were saying things like, "We love his growth and his time will come." It felt less like football evaluation and more like market correction. When a plan collapses, you change the conversation, and the Browns are world-class at that. Fans noticed immediately. So did analysts, who spliced side-by-side receipts. The months they ignored or undercut Shedeur versus the sudden, "we've always believed" chorus.
With Shedeur has really, really heightened people's emotions one way or another from the beginning of the draft process to now, that it's just easily to trigger. And I think that, with the hat backwards and things like that, I ain't gonna say his name, but when I seen that, I kind of like put it out there. Like, when I seen him in person, I'll let him know he tripping. And shout out to my employers for allowing me to sit there with my hat backwards when I'm on the radio, when I'm right here on UCSS or wherever I'm at. I just think people are finding whatever it is to poke at if you got an issue.
It didn't look organic. It looked orchestrated. Cleveland wasn't promoting him out of trust. They were using him as a decoy, a shiny storyline to keep fans engaged while the on-field product sagged. 1 week, patience and development. The next, slow-mo practice clips of Shedeur dropping lasers with crisp footwork and stillness in the chaos. Hope edits, even if the scoreboard told a harsher truth. It read less like belief and more like strategy. Sell the dream to cover the drought. But manipulations have an expiration date. Once fans believe the hype again, they want action. They wanted Shedeur reps with the ones, they wanted a plan with teeth. When the Browns didn't deliver.
As a veteran, what's impressed you the most on how he's approached the game?
All the time he takes, showing up early. Coach's office is easily seen when you walk in the building, and almost every morning you see him in there, talking through plays, talking through schemes with coach, and making sure that he's ready for his moment when he gets called up. And I appreciate that level of maturity and attention to detail.
That's the only person that matters that I want to hear from on
The illusion cracked. The team wasn't just losing control of its season, it was losing control of its story. And then a Cleveland voice with a spine blew the door off its hinges. Garrett Bush snapped. If you follow Cleveland sports media, you know Bush. Outspoken, fearless, allergic to PR fog. He torched the organization on air, accusing the Browns of running a fan fiction factory, spinning fake storylines about Shedeur like they're pitching a series to Netflix instead of running an NFL team. He said the quiet part out loud, Cleveland isn't just losing games, it's losing credibility. Every trust the process soundbite, every strategically leaked nugget about Shedeur's development, every camera cut to him on the sideline, it's all smoke and mirrors. In Bush's words, the Browns are using Shedeur, not developing him. They flash him when the temperature rises, let fans dream for 5 seconds, then go right back to the same inert offense. The metaphor hit like a hammer. This isn't football, it's misdirection. Wave one hand with promise while the other fumbles reality.
But it doubled down on what he said, the clip I just showed y'all. So now, this what the Browns doing. They actually done start doing it. I told y'all that it was gonna be the bye week. I told y'all they gonna start putting out little stuff, and then the bye week come after next week. Well, after this week, after this Sunday, the Browns.
Cleveland's fan base erupted. Clips of Bush's segments spread across X and TikTok with hashtag Bench the Lies and hashtag Play Shatter locally trending. He closed with a line that still rings. The Browns don't have a quarterback controversy. They have a truth problem. And that's the question ownership doesn't want asked. If he's being hidden, what are they really afraid of? Cue damage control. Within days, the same line echoed across interviews. Shedeur isn't ready yet. The safest phrase in football, sounds responsible, says nothing. He's learning the system. He needs time. The excuse works because it can last forever. If you never give real reps, you can always say, not yet. But whispers leaked from the building. In practice, he was firing absolute lasers, diagnosing coverages, commanding tempo, outshining depth chart names who keep getting Sundays. The not ready shield started to look like exactly that, a shield. Then Mary Kay Cabot, a veteran who has seen every era of Browns chaos, detonated the spin. She went on air and said what insiders were hinting at. Shedeur is playing like a star in practice.
Football team, head coach, and his coaching staff, they want the credit of the development of Shedeur Sanders. When you hear Mary Kay and Tony Grossi, them come out and saying positive stuff about Shedeur Sanders, so far now, you already know people on the inside of the building are giving them information to say.
Pinpoint throws into tight windows, composure beyond his years, mechanics that are smooth and repeatable. She described him elevating practice squad receivers, not riding with the ones, and still carving. The implication was unmistakable. He's not benched because he lacks skill. He's benched because his talent is impossible to unsee once you admit it. Cabot's reporting shattered the not ready narrative and exposed what the front office didn't want on record. Playing him rewrites the entire internal power map. This is where the story leaves football and enters power. Shedeur isn't acting like a rookie hoping for a cameo. He moves like a franchise quarterback. Calm, confident, magnetic. Veterans lean in, fans attach, the room listens. That presence threatens a culture built on control. Control the message, the spotlight, even how players are perceived. Shedeur doesn't need PR spin to be relevant. He's already a brand. And for an organization addicted to managing narratives, a player who is bigger than the script is terrifying. So the behavior started to look less like development and more like containment. Keep him quiet, keep him off the field, keep him from getting so big, so fast that you can't stuff him back in the box. Because once he gets real game tape and delivers, every excuse collapses. The irony is painful. For decades, the Browns begged for a quarterback who could lead, inspire, and connect. Now that they finally have one, they seem scared to let him lead. Meanwhile, the locker room sees everything. Players know who actually grinds and who coasts on pressers. Myles Garrett, face of the franchise, publicly praised Shedeur's maturity, film habits, and discipline. Insiders say he's in early, out late, absorbing the playbook like a vet, treating scout team reps like playoff drives. He hasn't acted like a backup. He's behaved like a leader in a holding pattern. For defenders like Garrett, respect isn't given, it's earned. His respect said everything. That's when a quiet football truth emerged. The locker room believed in Shedeur first, then the fans, then the media. The only holdouts were the suits upstairs, terrified of what happens when the truth outgrows their script. The divide widened, players living the game versus executives managing the image. The Browns tried to hold the line with the usual incantations. We trust the process. Competition makes everyone better. We're sticking to the plan. But every presser sounded more rehearsed than the last, and none answered the only question that matters. If he's that advanced, why isn't he taking first-team reps and live installs? Clips kept leaking, spirals on a rope, calm feet under pressure, teammates gravitating toward him. The not-ready guy looked like the only adult in the room. Social turned the talking points into punchlines. Reporters pressed harder. First-team reps? Internal tension? Why do defensive captains sound more convinced than the head coach? The answers got shorter.
There's been a major narrative shift in Cleveland. After Dylan Gabriel's shaky play, the Browns are suddenly hyping up Shedeur Sanders like they believed in him all along. Funny how fast the story changes when the results don't match the...
Colder, more brittle. When truth starts leaking, it doesn't stop. Every attempt to tamp it down made the story bigger, which leads to the simplest ugliest equation in the building. This isn't about readiness, it's about risk. If Stefanski starts Shedeur and it fails, the coach owns it. If he benches him and keeps losing, he still owns it. The only choice that doesn't risk immediate blame is the status quo until the crowd, the room, and the film make it untenable. At this point, the pattern is fluorescent. Delay, deflect, distract. When Gabriel sputters, tease, shatter developments. When fans revolt, leak praise. When insiders expose, float not ready. It's not a football plan, it's an optics loop. But here's the trap. The longer they stall, the more the legend grows. Shedeur doesn't even have to lobby. The Browns are doing the PR for him by looking scared of their own solution. They're proving he's not the one unprepared, they are. So what are they afraid of? Accountability. Once he plays and succeeds, the illusion dies. The process gets exposed as a stall tactic, and certain people lose control of the story, of the room, maybe of their titles. That's the culture problem at the core. An organization so used to managing belief that actual belief feels like a threat. The city sees it, the team feels it, the media is done pretending not to see it. The only people still clinging to the script are the ones paid to perform it. Pressure like this doesn't dissipate, it detonates. At some point, the crowd's patience, the defense's pride, and ownership's fear of being the last to move will intersect. When it does, Shedeur won't jog onto the field as a novelty. He'll arrive as the answer the building spent months pretending didn't exist. One deep strike that lights the stadium, one 2-minute drill that hums like he's been doing it for years, and the whole narrative flips overnight. From rookie risk to future franchise. Stefanski will try to frame it as timing, analysts will call it foresight, but everyone will know the truth. Cleveland didn't script this, Cleveland got cornered by it. And if he struggles, the spark still changes the room. Once the city sees him under center, there's no going back to cautious football and canned post games. He represents what the fans actually crave. Energy, swagger, a reason to believe again. That's why the Browns' delay keeps backfiring. The more they stall, the bigger the expectation becomes. And the more obvious it is that this isn't a talent issue. It's a control issue. By now, the only honest question is when. Ownership can feel the floor shifting. The defense is tired of wasting Sundays. The offensive room needs gravity. The fans are done paying for the process without a product. You can't sell patience forever. And the moment he plays win or wobble, the franchise's identity changes from spin to proof. If you're here for that moment in real time, like the video so this reaches other Browns fans, and subscribe so you're here when the depth chart finally blinks. Cleveland keeps chasing a savior, then panics the second one shows up. That's the cycle. Hype, hesitation, heartbreak. But this time feels different because the fan base and the locker room aligned before the suits did. Shedeur Sanders is sitting right there, talented, focused, unbothered by noise, while the organization protects egos and narratives instead of wins. It's not just a football problem, it's a culture problem. The Browns built an identity on selling hope. For the first time in a long time, they might be staring at results. And results don't need a press release. So the ending writes itself. The clock they keep trying to stop is still ticking. When Shedeur finally steps onto that field and does what the room believes he can, the spin collapses, the excuses evaporate, and the franchise stops hiding behind, not yet. The Browns won't just get a new quarterback, they'll get a new identity. One built on talent, confidence, and truth instead of crisis scripts. Every great story needs a turning point. For Cleveland, it's the moment they stop managing belief and finally let belief play. Tommy Rees just lit a fuse in Cleveland. The offensive coordinator, now acting head coach, didn't take the interim tag like a babysitter holding the clipboard until dad gets home. He walked in, flipped the lights, and made the boldest call this franchise has seen in years. He's preparing Shedeur Sanders to take over at quarterback with zero apologies, zero hedging, and absolutely zero regard for Kevin Stefanski's pride. While Stefanski watches his legacy wobble from the sideline, Rees is executing a plan the whole building can feel, because this isn't a trial balloon or a PR stunt, it's a quarterback revolution, and it might be the most important pivot the Browns have made in a decade. If you're into no-spin film talk and real-time Browns updates, hit subscribe now so you don't miss the next drop when this moves from rumor to reality. From the first presser, you could hear it in Rees's voice. Belief, not the plastic, we like our room spin, real belief. He talked about Shedeur's grind. First one in, last one out, hammering film until coverages feel like second nature, pounding footwork and timing until the ball arrives early, and receivers turn upfield without breaking stride. He described what every great quarterback eventually reaches when the work finally clicks. The game slows down. Windows appear before they open. Blitz tails give themselves away. You stop surviving and start dictating. Reese said Sanders is crossing that threshold, and when a quarterback gets there, efficiency isn't an accident, it's the baseline. He didn't promise fireworks, he promised completions, chains moving, points on the board. And when a reporter asks the question every fan screams, if he's this ready, why not play him now? Reese's answer wasn't a dodge so much as a roadmap. My focus is where we are right now. That's not my focus. Translation, not never, just not yet. Finish the build so the moment isn't a flash, it's a takeover. Behind the scenes, the work tells the story. Reese isn't tossing Sanders a few token reps and a pat on the helmet. He's coaching like a man with a deadline. Mechanics cleaned, base tightened, release sharpened, eyes trained to manipulate safeties with shoulders and helmet, not hope. And the big signal, first team reps, real ones, against the starting defense. Inside the actual plan, not scout team cosplay. That's where timing gets born, where language with receivers becomes instinct, where an offense becomes a room you know in the dark. Witnesses say practice looks different when 14 is in the huddle. Balls arrive on time. Intermediate throws hit at stride depth. Deep shots carry with arc and authority. Hot answers show quickly when fronts tilt. It's crisp. It's decisive. It's the thing this offense has begged for all year. Quick note, if you want the all-22 breakdown of those first-team sequences the second they go live, subscribe now so you're first in when we publish the Jets install cut-ups. If you watch Sanders at Colorado, none of this shocks you. Playing for Dion meant every Saturday was a spectacle. Cameras, critics, counterpunches, and still he stacked accuracy under chaos. 94 sacks behind a papier-mâché line, and he kept throwing dimes with ice in his veins. That environment didn't break him, it tempered him. The pressure found out he doesn't blink. Reese is wagering that the same poise scales on Sundays, and the practice tape keeps paying that bet. What makes the moment bigger than scheme, though, is the contrast. Because while Reese is building, Stefanski's been acting like Shedeur doesn't exist, brushing off questions, mumbling about plans that never change, clinging to Dylan Gabriel like the 53rd rep will end differently than the first 52. It isn't football logic anymore. It's ego dressed as process. The tension got so thick you could cut it. The acting head coach praising Sanders and prepping him like QB1 while the head coach pretends not to see him. That's how organizations split themselves down the grain. Then the Myles Garrett siren sounded. Mr. Professional, Mr. Keep It In-House. When a star like that finally steps to a mic and says, enough, it isn't a flare, it's an alarm. Garrett's been Atlas all year. Flipping tackles like pages, wrecking protections, dragging the team toward wins that the offense keeps tossing back. You could hear the exhaustion. Stop talking about process and give us points. Emmanuel Acho spelled out what pros know. When a leader of Garrett's caliber vents in public, belief in the plan is gone. Not strained, gone. That's how locker rooms fracture, defense earning while the offense learns until patience snaps and all the polite sentences evaporate. And still, Stefanski doubled down. Same starter, same script, same presses about progress while Sundays kept saying otherwise. That's why Reese's elevation landed like a relief valve. He's not angling for drama or carving a throne. He's putting out a 5-alarm fire with the only thing that works in this league, conviction plus a plan. The plan isn't cute, it's tailored, tempo with intent, not panic, early mirrored concepts to simplify reads and test corner leverage, flood and dagger to punish quarters, play action glance when linebackers start peeking, sprint/half roll to change launch points, shrink pictures, and buy sight lines. Install 2-shot plays in the first 15 to stress the post safety. Build hot answers that exist before the snap. Slide to teeth, throw to grass. That's the menu for a placement assassin. That's Reese's wheelhouse. Overlay it with Shedeur's traits. Calm eyes, compact release, placement before hero ball, and you finally have an offense with a thesis. The best part is how Sanders has handled the noise. No tantrums, no subtweeting teammates, no politicking. He told fans on stream the only thing they needed to hear, he's emptying the tank in practice so that when the call comes, there's no debate. Excitement without entitlement, confidence with receipts. That matters in a room. Veterans don't ride for raw volume. They ride for guys who put in the work, protect the ball, and make their labor pay off. And the vets see it. Corners respect the throws that beat leverage. Safeties respect the eyes that hold them. Linemen respect the ball out on time. You can't fool them. They know who stresses them in practice. Respect grows quietly, then all at once. That's happening. Meanwhile, the public patience for the current script is gone. The Gabriel experiment started as a bridge and calcified into a rut. In college, Dylan looked composed when kept on rails. In the league, the windows close and the railings vanish. Once defenses got taped, they disguised the picture, stole his first read, and the footwork started to fray. Panic throws off the back foot, sacks he could have thrown away, late balls on outbreakers, death by a dozen avoidables. It's not personal, it's the film. Backup talent is valuable in this league. Starter firepower is different. Cleveland's been trying to pretend those lines blur. They don't. Not when every rep drains your defense's soul. If Reese rolls with this, timing matters, and the schedule finally gives the Browns a runway, bye week to reset, a manageable opponent to unveil with. You can even slow play the announcement to Friday and keep the Jets guessing while you feed Shedeur every first-team snap you can find. That extra week isn't fluff, it's chemistry. It's learning a receiver's truth. How he leans at the top, how he hides the hands, how he accelerates through the catch point. It's reps on RPO footwork until the mesh looks like a blur, not a decision. It's turning a call sheet into muscle memory. So 3rd and 6 sounds like confidence, not coin flip. If you want that scripted first 15, the minute we get it, subscribe so the alert hits your phone before kickoff. None of this guarantees fireworks. There'll be misses. There'll be one he wants back. There'll be a 2nd and 10 where the right throw hits the turf and everyone breathes in through their teeth. That's rookie ball. The difference is he won't flinch. That's what Colorado taught him, how to find a beat in chaos and stick to it. And when he lands the first layered shot, something that makes the safety turn late and the sideline erupt, you'll see the defense's shoulders drop 2 inches and stay there. Relief is contagious. So is belief. The politics will fight back. Stefanski already tried the injury fog, tossing out that Sanders wasn't part of the plan, that he showed up hurt, that warm-ups proved he couldn't go. It rang thin. If he was hurt, why the week-long work? Why the first-team reps? Why the quarterback himself saying he felt great? Fans aren't naive. They smell when a narrative is stretched to cover ego. The more those stories unravel, the more the city sides with the guy who's doing the work and the coach who's building the plan. And if ownership is peeking into meeting rooms, and they always are, they're asking the same question as everyone else. Are we going to ride a talking point into the ground or let our season breathe? There's a version of this where Cleveland hesitates again, sticks with comfort, and the year drifts until the defense can't carry one more Sunday. There's another where they choose now. If they do, script the openers to calm the room and punch the clock. First, play a quick boundary access to get the ball out and tell the line you're protecting them. Second, a play-action glance to test the backers. Third and medium, you give him a high-low he loves, not a prove you can thread a needle lecture. Then the shot, not because the crowd wants one, but because the safety does. Prove you can move him with your eyes, then throw where you took him from. Do that, and the offense stops feeling like a permission slip and starts feeling like a promise. 2 truths, then we're out. 1, this isn't only about saving a season, it's about breaking a habit. For years, the Browns have chosen caution and called it wisdom, chosen denial and called it development. You can feel the building teetering between repeating that pattern and growing out of it. 2, there's very little middle ground left. Either Shedeur Sanders saves Cleveland from itself, or he exposes how deep the rut goes. Both answers are useful. Only one is alive. Picture the moment. Graphic flashes. Camera finds him. Stadium goes voltage. He jogs in, not as a curiosity, but as a center of gravity. The first 3rd down ball leaves early and hits through contact at the sticks, and you hear the sound this city forgot: trust. The defense jogs out and plays like it means something again. The sideline eyes are bright. The headset chatter is crisp. That's what a quarterback does when the work has been done. He turns noise into rhythm. Drop your take below, Jets debut, or hold one more week, and who gets the first shot. And if you want the instant film room right after his first start, subscribe and ring the bell so you're first in the door. Like the video, if you're feeling the turn, share it with the diehards in your group chat, and buckle up, because if destiny loves drama, it's about to pick a sideline in brown and orange.
One of them is going to be one. That's what I'm talking about.
One of them is going to be
speaking into existence.
And the latter one would not go behind 4. Now, all this is subjective because
the Cleveland Browns just can't stop tripping over their own chaos. Every time it looks like they finally found a little stability, they manage to blow it at the finish line. And now brace yourself, because Deion Sanders is crashing into the picture like a full-blown storm, ready to pull his son Shedeur out of the madness and into a situation that actually respects his game.
I know where I kind of want them to go. And let's not forget Shallow, okay? But I know where I want them to go. So there's certain cities that ain't gonna happen.
Okay, you on point.
It's gonna be. It's gonna be an easy.
Could this be Cleveland's biggest fumble yet, or a trade bomb about to rock the entire NFL? Either way, the temperature just jumped about 20 degrees, and the alarms in Berea are blaring. Deion is not the type to sit back and watch his son get treated like a nice-to-have backup. This is prime time. We're talking about the man who turned Colorado from a forgotten underdog into appointment television. Swagger, pressure, pageantry, and receipts. He didn't just build a roster, he built a movement. And at the center of it all was Shedeur. Cool, measured, surgical.
But we're built for this, man. He's been raised for this. When he gets on the next stage, he's not going to faint and melt up under scrutiny, on opposition and pressure. He's a Sanders, dog. He's built for this. Like, we've gone through this, and he knows the trials and tribulations that he has to.
Running the show with precision while the cameras followed like gravity. When Prime steps into a room, boots clean, shades on, whistle gleaming, it's not an appearance, it's a signal. The standard just changed. If the Browns think they can run the same old school playbook, delay, deflect, downplay, and expect Deion to nod and smile, they don't know the language of Prime. At Colorado, Deion controls the temperature, the messaging, the music, the momentum. It's not chaos, it's choreography. Shedeur thrives inside that clarity. The offense is built around what he does best: rhythm throws, anticipation, late answers under pressure, and the brand wraps around him like custom armor. In Cleveland,
A couple of teams that I won't allow him to play for.
Whoa.
This is my profession. I know what's behind the curtain. We ain't got to get back there for me to understand what's not prominent for my son. I'm not doing it. Ain't
And
no
if
way
he
in the world.
doesn't listen to you?
Who? No, you must mean owners, like not my son.
Have you told him privately who you would like for him to play for?
It's not like who I would like for him to play for.
that control would dissolve overnight. Instead of setting the tone, Prime would be stuck in the stands, watching his son become another name in the Browns' quarterback graveyard, where hope goes to get mislabeled and traded for future considerations. Deion's loyalty isn't to the Shield, it's to the Sanders legacy. If he thinks the Browns are playing politics with his son's career, he'll pull the plug before the press release gets spell checked.
So let's be honest, guys. Shedeur Sanders is a hot commodity, so it makes sense on all these NFL insiders keep talking about trade talk. We're gonna break down all these receipts together, then I'm gonna give my synopsis. But yes, Shedeur Sanders is predicted now to a new situation that's been breaking NFL news.
And that's the uncomfortable truth nobody in Cleveland wants to say out loud. Respect isn't something you negotiate after the deal. You show it on day one. If the Browns truly saw a franchise centerpiece, they would have treated him like one from jump. First team reps that actually mean something. Install periods that bend toward his profile. Public backing that matches the private plan. Instead, the signals were mixed.
He's being predicted to be traded to a new NFC contender, daddy. So guys, this thing been circling around Shedeur nonstop, and I'm not gonna be fake with y'all. I'm waiting for the moment of realization, and really realize that Shedeur might possibly get a chance with a real NFL franchise that's really going to cater.
The messaging was muddled, and the patience line turned into a smoke screen. Meanwhile, in Boulder, Shedeur is already a national brand, stacking NIL, driving sponsorships, and owning his narrative without asking permission. One path compounds momentum. The other walks into a storm behind a shaky line and a fan base conditioned to burn jerseys by halftime. That's not development. That's roulette. Hit subscribe if you want the real-time read when Deion's next move drops, because the moment he speaks with his chest, this story flips again.
Shedeur has started every game in high school,
right?
Every game in college except one, and he's prepared for this next level and this journey that he's about to go. And I think he's the most equipped. He's had Cam, you know, the 7 different offensive coordinators.
Yes, sir.
And
People forget how Prime responds to doubt. He doesn't argue, he escalates. When critics said Colorado wouldn't sniff relevance, he turned Saturdays into a spectacle and put the sport on tilt for a month straight. When they said Shedeur was untested, he let the tape talk. Ball placement, poise, answers under fire, while the metrics climbed and the noise fell in line. So when Cleveland acts like it's doing the kid a favor, you can practically hear Deion laugh behind those designer frames. In his world, the league should be chasing Shedeur. Teams should be lining up with a vision, not just a locker, explaining how they'll build around him, not how he'll earn his place behind a carousel they can't stop spinning. Every day the Browns hesitate, his leverage grows. More clips, more buzz, more proof that he doesn't need the league to validate the blueprint. Colorado wins by existing, Cleveland bleeds by explaining. That's the PR war, and right now it isn't close.
you know, a line that was always criticized and scrutinized, but he still stood and delivered. I think he's the best one for the job for any city, and he's the most equipped. Oftentimes we draft these quarterbacks that's been on these elite teams. Now they get in a situation where it's not as conducive to their success, for sure, and they choke.
The Sanders story is self-powered. Every throw a thumbnail, every presser a sermon, every week another reminder that control beats chaos and clarity beats committees. Could Deion actually pull his son and wait for the right NFL fit? Absolutely. He's shown he'll flip an entire roster to protect the standard. If the environment fails the respect test, he moves the environment, not the standard. That's why a stay put, keep building, wait for the right call plan feels both realistic and terrifying.
Browns predicted to trade Colorado legend Shedeur Sanders to NFC contender to elevate ceilings originally appeared on the Shedeur Sanders project for the Cleveland Browns doesn't seem to be going according to plan. The Browns don't appear to have Sanders in their immediate plans for this season or even the next. Currently, he's serving as an emergency insurance quarterback, and during the training camp, he was sometimes throwing to staff members instead of players. Now, this is actually true. He wasn't getting proper reps. He wasn't being utilized for the stature of the player that he.
If you're in Cleveland's front office. Because if Prime parks the bus in Boulder for another year, he's not losing ground, he's stacking brand equity while the NFL reshuffles and the right situation comes into focus. And yes,
one of the things I've chuckled about a little bit, all right? I don't want you to take this the wrong way.
Okay.
I'm shocked your kids didn't get your speed.
No.
I'm always like, how the hell did that not happen?
They mama side.
That got
they mama
there.
side.
Okay.
And I'm not happy about that. It's they mama side. But yeah. But you know what?
there's a wilder version of this that people keep whispering about. Shedeur landing in the league with Deion on the headset. Imagine the edge. Your head coach is the same man who molded your mind, your mechanics, and your mentality since high school. That's not an advantage. That's a cheat code. It's rhythm you can't teach and trust you can't simulate.
I have a question for the chat, and Uncle Joe, I'm not sure if y'all know, how long has Jimmy Haslam been with the Cleveland Browns?
A long ass time.
A long time. So since 2000, the Cleveland Browns have had 35 different starting quarterbacks. Since 2000, 35 different starting quarterbacks, but now you're going to take it upon yourself to say that Shedeur Sanders wasn't your pick. And that's probably why it's going to work. Because you had no dealings in him being drafted. Watch how God work. Watch how God work.
What about all them other picks you had? Who picked were they?
His. But hey, listen, he never came out before and said this was
never. No coordinator carousel, no identity crisis, no split vision. One philosophy from weight room to red zone. That's how you accelerate greatness. That's how you build a dynasty, not just a roster. Contrast that with Cleveland's figure it out as we go energy. Quarterbacks aren't developed, they're processed. A hot week becomes a brand, a cold half becomes a referendum, and the plan shifts with the wind. That's how careers get bent out of shape, talent thrown into turbulence, and then blamed for the turbulence.
He's done nothing wrong. So why are we having this conversation about his character? I'm gonna tell you why. Because you got people hating on his daddy.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And they want any excuse that they can come up with. And let me remind America why Deion Sanders, we gonna say this. This is why Deion Sanders is hated by some people, because he was the greatest. And he told you so. And then went out there and showed you so. and you were helpless to do anything.
Under Deion, the system wraps the player. In Cleveland, the player is asked to survive the system. It always comes back to consistency. Prime doesn't force Shedeur into an outdated binder. He designs the binder around the quarterback. Tempo, spacing.
I don't think Shedeur would be the quarterback he is if he had that.
I hear you.
Because now he has to really use the intellect and the instinct and understanding of the game and understand defenses and all that. So, and the thing about
not worried about running and doing
the thing
that.
about this
Right.
kid, and I'm gonna give you some heat.
Yeah, cool.
How many quarterbacks going in this draft
Yeah.
have started every game in high school?
Right.
Every game in college but one has had
Leverage. The whole thing tuned to the kid's strengths. In Cleveland, you're more likely to get a laminated script and a shrug. Run it better. But what does better even mean when the pocket is leaking and the install doesn't match the personnel? That gap between philosophy and reality is where confidence goes to die. And confidence is Shedeur's currency. Now imagine sideline late in the fourth. Other teams are chewing clocks and chewing out receivers. Shedeur glances over, shades steady hand.
College football in the pros, and we don't play without pads on and tackling. So until I see live game action, I'm going to reserve I think my guy can play. I've said it a million times. I want to see if Gabriel can play like that too. That's all. I just want to.
Turn on the Ohio State game and see if he can play.
A small signal he's known for a decade, and the whole picture slows down. That's father-to-son football at pro speed. That's the part no defensive coordinator can scheme. Intuition and alignment, not just play calls. With Prime in charge, Shedeur isn't a seat filler. He's the blueprint. The offense is built to elevate, not evaluate. The growth curve is honest, not performative. The patience is real, not conditional. That's how you build a franchise face. That's how you sustain it. And that's why this situation keeps buzzing. It's not just about a jersey.
Tony, they're not playing Ohio State. They're playing the Bengals in week 1.
Yeah, they're not playing Baylor either or Colorado State.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean,
you're basing your opinion on what Shedeur did at Colorado, where he's 13-11 as a starter, and he went to the Alamo Bowl.
There were a lot of great college players, Tony. Doesn't mean they're going to play well in the pros. We'll have to wait.
But you think Shedeur's going to play well in the pros?
And I don't know. I don't know if he is. I think
it's about stewardship. Too many teams swear they believe in young quarterbacks, then flip the script the second the hits stack up. One rough half turns into a narrative. One bad Sunday becomes a brand. That's the Cleveland routine. It's not malice, it's muscle memory. But it still breaks careers. Shedeur shouldn't be the next chapter in that cycle.
There's a reason
He's
why
built
most
to
players love
shine.
fighters.
On time, on beat, on brand. You don't toss that into a blender and hope it pours out clean. Cleveland loyalists will say he should want to fix it here. Respectfully, why? Respect is mutual, not mythical. If the process isn't aligned, the results won't be either. Deion knows this. That's why his answer is always the same. Protect the standard, protect the player, protect the legacy. If the situation matches the
The power
vision,
fantasy of
great.
getting up into your
If
opponent's
not,
face,
we wait.
using flash
Because
and
the
ultimate
Sanders
fun ways
timeline
against
is
terrain or something, and
generational,
just
not
blasting people.
transactional.
So here you go.
This is
Enjoy
why
the end game
stay
as
in
we pick it up
Colorado
with
until the
BRB,
right
you
offer
six-pack.
reads less like
Let's
avoidance
get
and
this
more
guy.
like
Whoa.
strategy. It preserves the brand,
Oh,
maintains
that's
the
not-
leverage,
that's
and keeps the development arc ascending.
That's actually just
The
not what's up.
NIL pipeline is
Lucky.
strong. The spotlight is national. The
I'm
film
gonna just
is
keep ragging
clean.
on this
The
Rashada.
body of work keeps stacking. Meanwhile, the
No
NFL
way.
moves fast. Jobs
way, dude.
turnover, systems
Okay, I come
change,
with a raw W.
decision makers
I can
cycle,
pull here.
and
I'll
the
wait-
right
I'll wait for his
marriage
jump.
has a way of appearing when you're ready and steady. That
pull into your
patience is
thing? No
power,
way, dude.
not Paul. And if you're the Browns and you truly want him,
In the
show
face,
it. Not with
okay.
slogans, but with
Yeah.
structure. Define the system around him, not around a committee. Put the right teachers in the room, secure the line, publicly own the plan, then follow it when the weather turns ugly. Anything else is just more noise, and the Sanders camp doesn't buy noise. They make it. Quick reminder, if you want the inside line when the next Shedeur headline drops, hit subscribe and turn on alerts. We track the real signals, not the fluff. There's a universe where Cleveland gets this right, where the franchise humbles itself, aligns around a real identity, and sells a coherent vision directly to the Sanders brain trust. But visions aren't vibes, they're blueprints with proof. Right now, the Browns are asking for trust on credit after years of overdrafts. Deion runs cash only. Bring a plan, bring accountability, bring consistency, or bring silence. Because the brand doesn't need saving, the career doesn't need fixing, and the leverage isn't leaving bolder just because an NFL logo looks better on a step and repeat. So what happens next? Likely this: Prime keeps stacking wins and moments, Shedeur keeps adding layers to the tape, and the league keeps inching toward them, not the other way around. The first team that pitches respect as strategy and proves it with personnel, scheme, and patience wins. The rest can keep refreshing a depth chart that never stabilizes. That's not arrogance, that's arithmetic. Cleveland can still pivot. They can stop scripting pressures and start scripting protection. They can turn development into decisions. They can replace eventually with exactly how. But if they won't, Deion will make the choice simple. Preserve the standard, protect the legacy, and wait for a partner worthy of the investment. Because when the stakes are generational, the only bad move is a rushed one. Bottom line, Shedeur deserves more than a lottery ticket in a wind tunnel. He deserves a field that's set for him to play his game, decisive, poised, demanding. Deion's job is to guarantee he gets it. That's not meddling. That's guardianship. The Browns can call it leverage, call it difficult, call it whatever helps them sleep. Prime will call it what it is, leadership. And unless Cleveland proves it can match that, the answer will stay the same. Thanks, but no thanks. The dynasty is already under construction in Colorado. Every throw, every week, every camera angle, tightening the frame around the bigger story. If the NFL wants in, it knows where to knock and how to talk when the door opens. Until then, the Sanders brand moves on its terms, not on anyone's timeline. Like, share, drop your take below, and subscribe so you don't miss the next turn, because this saga is getting louder, smarter, and a whole lot more interesting from here. Twitter turned into an absolute Reddit. Threads exploded overnight. They didn't just lose to the on Sunday night. It wasn't a defeat. It was a full-blown humiliation that confirmed every fear Browns fans have ever had about their franchise's dysfunction. And one name sits squarely at the center of it all. War zone, Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers imploded, Dylan Gabriel. If you watched that game, you know this wasn't your typical quarterback meltdown. It was a total system failure, broadcast in prime time for the world to see. Gabriel didn't just struggle, he collapsed. The stats alone tell the story. 50 pass attempts. Read that again. 50 desperate throws trying to save an unsalvageable performance. The result, barely 220 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 0 spark. No leadership, no rhythm. Nothing resembling NFL caliber quarterback play. Sure, his completion rate looked fine on paper, but anyone watching saw the truth. Checkdowns, dump-offs, and timid 3-yard passes on 3rd and 8. This wasn't offense, it was surrender. Pittsburgh's defense didn't even bother disguising their coverages. They set in simple too-high looks and dared Gabriel to throw deep. He couldn't or wouldn't. Open routes went ignored, receivers were stranded midfield, and by the 4th quarter, Steelers defenders were literally laughing between plays. It wasn't just bad football, it was embarrassing. That's no exaggeration. Cameras caught it all. Steelers defensive backs were smiling, pointing, and mocking the Browns offense in real time. When do you ever see professionals clowning opponents mid-game? Only when the quarterback play has completely fallen apart. Browns fans watched in disbelief as frustration turned into full-blown rage, and social media exploded. Twitter became ground zero for Cleveland's meltdown. Memes hit instantly. One viral post showed Dylan Gabriel photoshopped onto a practice squad roster with the caption, "Finally found his level." Another compared his stat line to Brandon Whedon's, showing the retired quarterback somehow looked better. Within hours, retweets and likes were piling up by the thousands. The discourse turned savage. A brutal tweet with 47,000 likes read, "We traded Joe Flacco for this starch." Another fan posted, "Dylan Gabriel isn't the answer. He's the problem drowning this franchise." Replies flooded in with laughing gifs, clips of missed throws, and highlight reels of Gabriel's endless checkdowns. This wasn't just frustration anymore. It was revolt. Even national media jumped in on the chaos. Colin Cowherd opened his show declaring, "The Browns have their real franchise quarterback sitting on the bench while Stefanski ruins the season with blind loyalty to an overmatched player." Then Stephen A. Smith took it up a notch. He didn't just criticize. He detonated. "This isn't bad coaching. This is coaching malpractice. Everyone watching can see it. Shedeur Sanders gives the Browns their best shot at winning. Everyone except Kevin Stefanski, apparently. He refuses to make the obvious switch. Why? Pride, politics, stubborn loyalty, whatever it is, it's tanking the season fast. Even analysts who never agree are on the same side now." Skip Bayless nodded along with Stephen A. Smith, saying, "I've watched Shedeur since Colorado. The young man has NFL arm talent, leadership, and fire." Meanwhile, Dylan Gabriel looks completely overwhelmed against real defenses. It's simple. Play your best quarterback, but Cleveland won't do it. Former players piled on too. Robert Griffin III tweeted, "If your quarterback throws 50-plus passes, gets 220 yards, and 0 touchdowns against a division rival, your offense is broken, period." Another ex-Browns quarterback privately texted a local reporter, "Everyone inside that building knows Shedeur should be playing. Coaches are just scared to admit they messed up." And the numbers back them up. This isn't one bad game. Gabriel's been struggling all season. Defenses have figured him out. His reads are slow, his arm underwhelming, and his pocket presence practically non-existent. Yet the coaching staff keeps rolling him out there expecting something new. That's the definition of insanity. Now the locker room's reaching a breaking point. Sources say players are fed up. Offensive linemen are tired of blocking for a quarterback who won't take chances. The frustration is boiling, and everyone knows it. This isn't just a quarterback controversy anymore. It's a team unraveling from the inside. Cleveland's offense is collapsing in plain sight. The offensive line's buying time, receivers are running sharp routes, and Dillon Gabriel is just dumping it off every play. He's choosing safety over aggression, ignoring open looks downfield. One veteran receiver reportedly told a coach, "Why am I running deep routes if my quarterback won't throw past 15 yards?" Meanwhile, the defense is furious. They played championship-caliber football against Pittsburgh, holding the Steelers under 20 points, forcing turnovers, giving the offense perfect field position, and Gabriel wasted everything. The locker room's splitting. Sources say one defensive captain confronted Gabriel post-game. Words were exchanged before teammates pulled them apart. Stefanski brushed it off in public, but insiders say tension has reached critical levels. And the most painful part? Shedeur Sanders is just sitting there, watching it all unravel, knowing he could change everything. His teammates see it too. They've watched him in practice, seen the arm strength, the poise, the confidence. Everyone in that locker room knows he gives them the best shot at winning. Yet the coaching staff keeps him benched, trapped by draft politics and pride. No one understands it anymore. Reports now suggest veterans are quietly pushing for a change. Multiple players have approached Stefanski directly, asking him to give Shedeur a chance. Even the offensive coordinator and several position coaches reportedly agree Gabriel's limitations have become impossible to hide. But Stefanski, he's standing firm, publicly defending a sinking ship as the locker room loses faith and the season slips away. Let's address the elephant in the room. This isn't just about Dillon Gabriel's struggles. This is about Kevin Stefanski's coaching credibility collapsing in real time. His refusal to adapt, his blind loyalty to a quarterback who's clearly overmatched, and his failure to recognize the obvious solution sitting on the bench. It's destroying his reputation across the league. Privately, other coaches and front office execs are already questioning his judgment. Has he lost the locker room completely? The breaking point came during Stefanski's post-game press conference. A reporter asked directly, "Have you considered playing Shedeur Sanders given the offense's struggles?" Stefanski's answer, "Dillon gives us the best chance to win." Twitter erupted. That quote instantly became a rallying cry for angry Browns fans demanding a coaching change. One fan edited the clip with a laugh track, another set it to circus music. The internet mockery was relentless. And here's the painful truth. This Browns roster is built to win right now. Elite defense, explosive receivers, a solid offensive line, and reliable special teams. Every piece of a playoff team is there, except a competent quarterback. Gabriel's limitations are handcuffing the entire offense, while Shedeur Sanders, the clear spark they need, sits idle on the bench. Pittsburgh fans are having the time of their lives. Their timelines are filled with trolling comments like, "Thanks for the easy win, and please keep starting Gabriel. Sincerely, AFC North." The loss didn't just sting, it shifted momentum in the division and torpedoed Cleveland's playoff hopes before Thanksgiving even arrived. This wasn't just another defeat, it was a season-defining disaster. The national narrative flipped overnight. Just weeks ago, analysts called the Cleveland Browns a dark horse playoff contender. Now they're the NFL's latest punchline. Talk shows are roasting the franchise for organizational chaos, wasted defensive talent, and coaching incompetence. Cleveland has once again become the league's laughingstock. Another promising season destroyed by a quarterback crisis. Fans who've endured decades of heartbreak watch their brief glimpse of hope crumble in real time. The Shedeur Sanders situation grows more absurd by the day. A fifth-round rookie outshining the higher draft pick in practice, with teammates quietly backing him and fans screaming for a change. Even national media are asking the same question: why won't they play the better quarterback? The answer? Pride and politics. Gabriel's starting job has become a sunk cost, and the Browns refuse to admit their mistake. They poured draft capital, public hype, and reputation into him, and now they're letting ego bury their season. Meanwhile, the better option, confident, hungry, and clearly capable, sits on the sideline waiting. By Monday morning, Twitter was merciless. Trending hashtags like #StartShedeur and #GabrielGottaGo dominated timelines. Fans were creating mock trades, editing posters with Gabriel's face under the headline, Missing Browns Offense, and turning social media into a full-blown anti-Gabriel movement. The message couldn't be clearer. Cleveland's loyalty to failure is becoming its biggest enemy. The creativity was wild, the anger undeniable. Cleveland fans made their message crystal clear. They want a quarterback change, and they want it now. Some even organized digital protests, flooding social media with Shedeur Sanders' profile pictures and hashtags demanding action. Thousands joined coordinated tweet storms targeting the Browns' official accounts. Fan podcasts dropped emergency episodes breaking down Dillon Gabriel's failures and pleading for Shedeur's promotion. This wasn't a small outcry. It became a united fan movement. The majority of the Browns' base is now standing behind one demand: start Shedeur Sanders now. The organization has reached a breaking point. Either they keep backing a failing quarterback and risk losing the locker room completely, or they admit the mistake and give Shedeur the chance to save what's left of their season. Time's running out. Division rivals are gaining ground and the playoff window is closing fast. The Cleveland Browns have officially become the definition of organizational dysfunction. A talented roster is being wasted, an elite defense is being squandered, and the one quarterback who could spark a comeback remains benched. This isn't bad luck. It's coaching malpractice. A complete disconnect between leadership and reality is destroying a team built to win, while fans scream for the obvious fix that management refuses to make. The Pittsburgh loss made everything crystal clear. Browns fans finally saw what they feared all along. This team doesn't have a quarterback capable of winning meaningful games, and the coaching staff refuses to make the change everyone's begging for. The season's spiraling out of control. While the solution sits on the bench, the result, a social media meltdown, Twitter chaos, national mockery, and a franchise drowning in its own stubbornness. Now only one question remains: how long before Cleveland makes the inevitable switch? Every week, Stefanski delays it. His credibility sinks deeper. Every start for Dillon Gabriel pushes the fan base further away. Every loss slams the playoff door tighter. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders keeps his head down, working quietly, waiting for the moment that everyone knows is coming. Browns fans have spoken loud and clear, through memes, posts, and endless threads. Gabriel isn't the answer, he's the problem. The city knows it, the players know it, and honestly, the whole NFL knows it. So when will Cleveland finally face reality? What was supposed to be the Browns' big comeback season has turned into yet another quarterback disaster. Another wasted year fueled by pride, indecision, and a refusal to make the one move that could still save it. Start Shedeur Sanders now. Jalen Ramsey didn't just play football that night. He hijacked the entire story and put it on blast for the league to see. One moment he was locking up receivers, the next he was standing over Dillon Gabriel, pointing across the field with a smirk that said more than any post-game quote ever could. Cameras caught everything. The gesture, the roar, the crowd going ballistic. And within minutes, the internet turned that clip into a national debate with real stakes. Was it a taunt, a power move, or something deeper? Because to anyone actually paying attention, that wasn't a sack celebration. That was Ramsey calling out the Browns' decision-making in 4K. He wasn't pointing just to make noise, he was pointing at Shedeur Sanders, and that silent signal said what half the league's been whispering for weeks. You're wasting time, the future's standing right there. It was football fused with theater, competition turning into prophecy, and for once a viral NFL moment actually meant something big. Deep drop for Gabriel.
Did y'all hear about the Pittsburgh player who, Jalen Ramsey in the game? Something happened. And I don't know if he caught a pick, a sack, or something, because I don't know what he do. He went to the sideline and pointed to Shedeur. You need to be out here. Like, you out here. I was like, whoa. Shout out to Jalen Ramsey. So he was trying to tell you that Shedeur need to be the one in the game. Don't forget, the question is, should Shedeur Sanders start versus Miami? That's the question that I have that I want y'all.
Rolls right, chased. Boom! Jalen Ramsey rockets off the edge and buries him clean and violent like a headline with shoulder pads. Gabriel goes down and Ramsey doesn't dance. He stares, then points straight toward the Browns sideline where Shedeur stands helmet in hand, and the building feels the message hit like thunder. Within minutes, that clip was everywhere. ESPN, TikTok, you name it. With hashtags like hashtag start Shedeur and hashtag Ramsey, set it popping before the final gun even sounded.
Ramsey, Steelers star defender, actually pointed at QB Shedeur Sanders, who was on the sideline for the Browns after sacking Dillon Gabriel. This is crazy.
Deep drop for Gabriel. Out of the pocket, on the move, caught from behind.
Then came the second sack. Nastier, louder. Ramsey folds Gabriel up, stands over him, and this time taps his wrist like he's checking.